So we are live for week number 2. And if you didn't watch the live that I did last week, it's still on my profile. And that kind of covered the 3 most common challenges that businesses struggle with when it comes to hiring. So just as a little introduction, my name is Leanne Makinson. I am the founder and director of Hargreaves Recruitment Training and Coaching. And this week, we're going to be talking about the Recruitment Foundations all businesses should be built on. So for those that don't know who I am, I have been in the recruitment industry for 22 years. I've had 12 years of those working internally for some pretty big businesses. And for the last 7, nearly 8 years, I've had my own organization. But over the last couple of years, I didn't want to be a transactional recruiter anymore. So I really dug deep in terms of how I wanted to add value. And that was to train SMEs on how to attract, hire, and retain talent. So I've spent the last few months creating a really strong structure in terms of how I deliver that training. But I understand that not all businesses are ready to invest. I understand not all businesses really understand recruitment on a deeper level. So over the next few weeks, I'm going to be taking you through some really strong foundational pieces that all businesses need when it comes to hiring. And I speak to a lot of businesses that are like, oh, we don't need any recruitment until 2025. That for me is a very reactive way of dealing with recruitment. And what I really want to educate businesses on is how to become proactive. And for me now, what I would be utilizing is these next few weeks on the run up to Christmas to really anchor in on the recruitment foundations that I'm going to go through with you on this live. So my intention for this is, and you'll have a look at the event, it'll show you each week what we're going to be going through, but it's a led process in terms of how to really create yourself as a strong attraction magnet for candidates. And we're going to go through how AI intertwines with the whole recruitment process. But I'm really going to give you some really actionable takeaways from each of these sessions so that you can start to transform how you think about recruitment, so you can start to change how your business attracts candidates. I hear a lot of organizations saying recruitment is hard, recruitment, we struggle to attract candidates. But when I look at the careers page, when I look at the social media, when I look at the job descriptions, they're not up to date. Sometimes there's no presence at all on social media. But what we tend to do is think an advert or a recruitment agency is that quick fix that's going to be the magic pill to providing us with candidates that we really want in the organization, when it goes a lot deeper than that. Also, as well, the things that I'm going to be sharing with you each week don't just act as a plan for growth. They really help grow your business in other senses as well. So I am a qualified business coach. A lot of the training that I do, there's a lot of business coaching woven into that, because I feel like as much as people are resistant to really invest into recruitment, it's the one thing that's going to grow your business. And if we don't get this right, we end up not being able to retain talent. We end up training people again and again and again. We end up going through this hamster wheel of recruitment, and it's the definition of insanity, kind of not fixing the problems at a deeper level so that we can start to bust through all of the stagnant connotations and negativity that comes with recruitment as well. So if you could just put in the chat if you can hear me okay. And this is open to anybody that wants to come with questions. So any questions you want, I'll kind of go through them as we're doing the training. So the main common challenge that I see businesses doing is when they need to hire is kind of skipping to like 3/4 of the way down the process. We're starting at point 6 and 7 as opposed to starting at point 1 or 2. And what they do is they speak to a recruitment agency, or they'll, stick an advert out on Indeed and expect that to really bring in the masses. Whereas what I do with businesses is we really start at the beginning, where we look at the core values, we look at the company culture, and we look at the vision for your organization as well. I'll go through these 3 things individually, and then I'll answer any questions that you have. So what I tend to find businesses push back on is that we've got a company culture and we've got our core values. We know where our business is going, but they don't share that anywhere. You know, I can speak to a lot of directors and operations managers. They are so passionate about their businesses. They know exactly where their organization's going. But what we do is we assume that people know that. And I can see the passion, I can see the drive, I can see the enthusiasm, I can see the commitment that these people have got to their businesses. That is the information that will attract people to your organization. But we need to get that down. We need to get that down on strong statements, on your careers page, onto your social media, onto your employer branding. So how I work with businesses is, if you haven't kind of looked at your core values or your company culture in the last 12 months, this next few weeks now is a great way of you being able to align who your business is so that you set up for success in 2025. And again, this doesn't just help with recruitment, it helps with growing your business. You want to be able to share this with your clients, with partners, with, you know, suppliers of your organization as well, so they understand you on a deeper level. So what I tend to do with businesses is I'll find out what's their route to market when it comes to recruitment. And a lot of the time, what businesses do is they will go on recommendations. So they will, Mark from accounting, for example, recommends Ben that works for another company. He's got some great skills and experience. We bring Ben in, and because Ben is a referral, we don't really put him through a robust recruitment process. And sometimes the company culture can get lost in that. Also, as well, what we do is we pull people from other businesses that have got the skills and experience that we want, and then we pop them into our organization. And the company culture just gets watered down and watered down and watered down. My recommendation with this is to do personality testing with everyone in the business. So it gives you a rule of thumb as to who you've got in your organization, so that you can start to create strong statements on your company culture. You know, we might have one vision in terms of what your company culture is, but now that we've done the personality testing, we can really see what the strengths and the weaknesses and the personalities of your organization is. So we can start to give people a snapshot into that company culture, because that's a true reflection of who your business is. When it comes to your core values for your organization, what I would potentially look at with businesses is to spend some time with the directors, the CEOs, the founders of the organization. Really sit down together, spend that time, block it out, whether it's an hour on each one, just to really bounce some ideas around. Anyone that plays a part in pushing your business forward should be at the forefront of creating these recruitment foundations and spending time in terms of who your company is, so we can create some strong statements on that. Then we can have a look at your core values. Now, if this is something that is a little bit confusing or you've not really spent the time to have a look at this, what I would do, it's like a 3-minute exercise, is spend 60 seconds writing down 10 core values that are true to you. And this is a quick fire round. And the reason why we do this is to really cut out the noise, and we're talking to the subconscious. So we can't second guess any questions that we're asking ourselves. And once we've got to 10 core values that are true to you, then you set a timer for another 30 seconds and you take 5 of these core values out and keep the 5 that you want. And then you set your timer for another 30 seconds and then take 2 of those out. So you've got 3 strong core values that are really true to you and resonate with your personal core values. And for example, if you've got this exercise where you with the co-founders, the founders, the directors, the operations managers, HR managers, then you can utilize some whiteboards and everyone puts their core values down on there, so you can work as a collective, because these values then are true to the whole business. You can work as a collective to really identify 3 to 5 strong core values that everyone is in agreement with. So those are 2 areas that you could start having a look at now. The final area would be, are we still here? I think so. Little glitch. So the final area that I would be focusing on is your vision for the future. And the reason why this is such a strong area for you to be having a look at is that because of COVID, we had a complete shift in the way that the world thought about how employment is for them. We had, a 2-year, 3-year period where people were sat at home thinking about what was really important to them. So when it comes to creating a vision for your organization, it pigeons you as a strong leader in the market. It gives people trust and reassurance that your business is going to be around for the long haul. And when we have a look at kind of strong statements for the vision of your organization, it acts as a great attraction magnet, because the work that I do with businesses isn't just about advertising a role. It might be speaking to someone that isn't necessarily looking for a job. So when we have a strong vision for the future, it's a great way of aligning that person to your organization. The reason why I am so passionate about creating this foundation is because how we used to do recruitment pre-COVID is completely different now to how this works in 2024/2025. What I see businesses doing is using advertising platforms that are expensive and they're oversaturated as their only means to advertising and to attract candidates. And if the messaging is wrong, that is going to bring people into your space that aren't aligned. Recruitment can become quite testing because we're only working with people that apply to a job that aren't aligned with what we actually want. And when we create these strong statements, we're creating a really strong attraction magnet for the people that you do want in your organization as well. Yes, we want the skills. Yes, we want, people that are going to grow with your organization, but are they aligned? We spend our lives at work. We need to make sure that the people that we bring in, we're going to be able to get creativity out of them. We're going to be able to see teams develop and grow together. And this is why I'm so passionate about having this recruitment foundation. So imagine, for those of you that do know what dating sites are, some of you might be married for the long term and never had to go on Hinge or Bumble or anything like that. But if you can imagine you setting up a dating profile, I would be very clear in terms of who I am and who I want to potentially start dating and what my plans are for the future, because I don't want to get 3 dates in and get invested. And now that person isn't in alignment with me because I wasted my time. And time is one of the most precious commodities that we ever have, with our time on this planet. You could have a look at kind of recruitment in the same way of building a house. We have to put strong foundations in place. And every 12 months we might redecorate. Every 12 months we might change the furniture, because we grow and evolve as an organization, and our needs and wants grow as well. Now, when it comes to, I'm just going to make sure that I've covered all of these actually. Yeah. So when it comes to how do you get these statements out to market, this is where I start to use AI and I start to use ChatGPT. So if I ever refer to AI, I'm always talking about ChatGPT, and I do invest in ChatGPT. So it's like 20 quid a month. And I've got a specific channel to me where I feed it information about myself, so that when I am talking to AI, it talks in my authentic voice. But I'm not saying use AI to create any of these statements. What I'm saying is we can use AI to help you with these statements. So what we can do is, and I don't want you to overthink this either, is when you put in these statements together, you can literally brain dump all of the ideas, then use AI to tidy it up, to put it in a way that makes sense to people who are going to be reading this information. So for example, with your company culture, you could feed it the information in terms of your company culture. You could feed it all of the personality testing that you did, and you can feed it with information in terms of you want to bring aligned people into your organization. So how I would start that conversation is, hey, ChatGPT, I'm looking to create several statements on my company culture so that this aligns candidates with who I am as an organization. And we can feed it how long that needs to be, how many words, how big the paragraph is. Put your company website into that as well, all of the information that you've brain dumped, and then ask it to speak in the way that a 12-year-old could understand it. Because what we will typically do is, when we're talking about our businesses, we could talk about things that are specific to that business and add company jargon in there, which sometimes if someone's reading that, they might not necessarily know what that means. So we can take the fluff out, we can take the company jargon out, but also ask it to present that information in the way that a 12-year-old can understand it. Now, when you're working with ChatGPT, go through the statements and pick out the information that's relevant, and then you could really tweak it and play about with it. So you could ask it to add more emotion. You could ask it to be more funnier. You could ask it to speak to a certain demographic. What you can also do is ask it to add certain keywords into there as well, which will help with your search engine optimization. So if you have specific keywords that are relevant to your industry, add that into the statements too, so that it's really helping with attracting aligned candidates. It's helping with search engine optimization. It's speaking to the people that you want to bring into your organization. And then once you have all of these different statements, I'd have different versions, because what I then get you to do, and I'll go over this in a second, is add these to like job descriptions, your careers pages. But also as well, when we're doing this, I want to be able to see what job descriptions are landing, what information is landing when you're sourcing candidates. So as a rule of thumb, I like to be able to create several different documents for each part of the recruitment process so we can measure the results. You know, it's not that I've got a magic wand and here's exactly what you need to be posting out and this is going to get you exactly what you want. We need to make sure that we're speaking to the right demographic of people that you need in your business. And we need to be able to advertise in several different ways, measure the results, tweak it as we go, so that by the end of a couple of recruitment processes, we've really got a clear indication of how to speak to the people that you want to align with your organization. Now, when it comes to the next part of the process, this is why I'm so passionate about creating this statement. You don't need to do this again. It will take time to be able to solidify what this message is. But once you've done this once, you don't need to do it again for another 12 months. But this is something that you can use on all of your employer branding, your LinkedIn company careers page, your careers page on your website, all of your job descriptions, so that message is congruent. And you don't need to create that message again. So once we've got these strong templates, we can use them on all of the different spider webs of attraction that I teach businesses how to do. And this, again, is another great way of you saving time, but it's aligned information that you're posting out onto social media, employer branding, your careers page, but also as well, these statements that you just created, you can use not just for recruitment, but for growing your organization as well. So recruitment is a strategy, and it's a strategy for each element of the process. You know, it's great that we have processes and systems in place, but what I teach businesses to do is create strategies that work for them. So we've got the foundations that we've just gone over. Take this information away and watch it again, and start to maybe book in time with the founders and the directors of the organization, just so that you can sit down and really think about who your organization is, how you make an impact on the industry, and then you can start to refine that message when you speak into candidates. So just to give you a bit of a rule of thumb, when I was a transactional recruiter, 70% of the candidates that I placed within businesses didn't come from adverts. They came from people that I found. And these people weren't on job boards either. They were from LinkedIn. And this is something else that I teach businesses to do, is how to find candidates that aren't just sat on job boards, how to find candidates that aren't just applying for roles. So the messaging that you are kind of collating together needs to be strong. It needs to give people a reason to want to join your organization, because that is just how much recruitment has changed. And this is why businesses are struggling, because they don't have that infrastructure in place. And we treat recruitment as reactive as opposed to proactive. And the training that I do is a 6-week training program. And again, it's not a quick fix. You know, it's a couple of hours learning every single week and then integrating all of the different steps. And then we layer that training to a point where we don't have to go to market for an external role anymore, because that talent should be in your organization, because we've gone through a strategy. And the only time that you should be recruiting is when that skills when you experience a skills gap within your organization. So by getting this information right at the very start, you're going to transform how your business does recruitment in 2024 and 2025. So I hope that made sense. Next week, we're going to layer up on the Recruitment Foundation. So we're going to be having a look at how to make sure that you're competitive within the industry, how to create job descriptions, and how to create strong advertising strategies, which, if you go over this session and the week before, you'll have all of that information ready to go. So does anybody have any questions? I'm going to talk for another 5 minutes. If not, I'm going to jump off. So if you want to explore more in terms of how to integrate recruitment into your organization, if you go onto my LinkedIn profile, I have a free 15-minute recruitment strategy call that you can click on my profile, and it connects you straight with my calendar. I have a power hour that you can book. So if you do have a ton of questions and you want to make sense of that, then you can book a power hour with me. I've got Hiring Made Easy, which is a 6-week transformational course that you can purchase straight away. But if you want more information on that, book the free 15-minute recruitment strategy call. And then I'm also going to be doing these lives every single week for the next 7 weeks. So thank you so much for listening. I will post out on Monday when the next live is. It'll be next Thursday. And if you do have any questions, it's leanne@hargreavesrecruitment.com if you want to send me any information, or send me a DM on LinkedIn as well. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.